Hello, fellow pickers. My name is Mike Crafton. I'm coming to you from Santa Rosa, California.
That's right. You're on the road, my friend. I'm coming to you from Colorado, Castle Rock, and my name is Carl. Welcome, everybody, to the Pickers Podcast.
Welcome to the show. How's it going, buddy? How's Colorado treating you?
Colorado's got this crazy spring that's just hanging on. That is just, we have like volatile weather in the spring. And how that relates to picking is that we've had snow or Easter for 3 weekends in a row. So there hasn't been much on the picking scene, to be honest. I've been a little bit discouraged. Geez. So yeah,
that's crazy. Sorry to hear that. It's only it's 80 degrees out here today, so it's kind of tough to bear with right now.
Yeah. So you're on the road. Are you on the road picking?
I am. So we've been doing a couple of things, traveling, and then also we are picking. And then as our listeners know, we're both backpackers, and so we're gonna go down and train in the Sierras for a little while because I got a couple monster hikes coming up. But yes, picking, Goodwill. We've done a new store called Savers and a new store in Santa Rosa called Falling Prices.
I've heard of Savers.
Have you? Okay,
yeah, I think they got those out here.
Yeah, they're a little high priced, but I think I found a couple of things that I might be able to flip pretty well.
Okay. Well, hopefully you can tell us what some of those things are, because we have items, like we're kind of revealing some secrets here. Not that we are the experts, but hopefully we have enough expertise to help somebody with something. Because we kind of teased a little bit in the last episode, and then after we released it, we realized, okay, there was definitely some tips about some lucrative items that, like specifically with like the DVDs and DVD clues and that kind of thing that were given by our guests. But I think that we need to like just be real people. And if there's something that we know that's lucrative, we're going to share it today on this episode.
That's right.
But I think we have to define, Mike, what's lucrative? Like, what does that mean to you? And please don't tell me that your list has items you're reselling for $3 to $4. That doesn't count.
If you get it for free or you get it for a quarter, that is a huge markup, man. Come on.
Percentage-wise, yeah.
Percentage-wise.
And I know, so, Mike's backstory is he's like still figuring this out. He's still in the early stages. He's figured out a lot already. Like his, I guess, learning curve is going super strong. That doesn't even make sense, but whatever. He's learned a lot in a short amount of time. That being said, Mike, you're willing to take the time to sell things that don't make you a lot of money, so long as it makes you a good profit margin. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it's fair to say. And we did the numbers, and it's about if I make $2.50 in profit, if it only takes me 15 minutes to ship, that's almost $20 an hour. Now,
yeah,
my math's a little.
Yeah, I like your math on that, but let's be honest. People that are tuning into this episode, they don't want to hear $2.50. They want something better than that. And so here's the deal. If you have an item, I don't want you, like, you've already made your list. I'm not going to have you like modified at this point.
Yeah.
If you get an item that you're trying to pawn on us for $2.50, I'm going to boo you.
Okay.
Boo.
Me. Do you have the sound effect queued up? Is it ready to go?
If I have an item, by the same token, that because what I'm telling you, it works in Colorado, a lot of these things. And so if you're like, that is not going to happen in my state, you can boo me.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll just cut your video off. How about if I just cut it off?
Whatever it takes.
And if you guys think of anything that we're talking about that you can add on to that, make sure and drop a comment down in the comment section below and help us get us schooled up so we can give the advice back to you guys.
Absolutely. All right. So we got a top 10. So we're going to go kind of reverse order, like the 10th best item. Hopefully you kind of have them ranked. I'll have you go 10th, I'll go 9th, and we'll kind of go back and forth. That being said, like theoretically, like your 10th best item could be better than my 9th because we don't know what each other's list is. So it's like a loosely based top 10, loose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, I got one update that I want to give it to you, and it kind of goes along with what you were just talking about. So I hope you have a clapping sound effect also, because this one was a really good deal.
Is it about Frosty the Snowman again?
The pictures that I've been sending you, all the Christmas stuff is getting out there again. You better get on it. No, this one was, we went yard selling a couple weekends ago, and we went we specifically went to one yard sale and noticed a church yard sale as we're going into it. So we swung by real quick, and we were looking through the tables, and I spotted these two, the old drafting lamps that clamp onto a table and they're flexible. They have springs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I saw two of them, and they looked like they're in really good condition. And I just happened to have looked these up before when I first started to see how profitable they were. And they had one vintage one and one kind of weird one. It didn't look like it was vintage at all. But I picked up the vintage one for $2, and guess what I just sold it for?
$4.50. $2.50 profit margin, baby.
100% markup. No, that thing sold for $65, man.
Yes.
Can you believe that? Jeez.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that the kind of profit margin you're looking for?
Yeah, and I think $65 is lucrative.
Yeah.
All right, but I gotta ask.
Well, I hope it would be. Oh my gosh, that's what, $23 or $63 profit?
Yeah, but I gotta ask you though.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you feel a little weird like trying to make money off of a church?
How did I not foresee this question coming?
No, this is something I thought of before because the whole like the church rummage sale, like this is not a new thing. Like they've had this since I was a kid. And I mean, my mom used to run the rummage sale at my church when I was growing up. And I remember like she would always complain about like people stealing stuff. Like they'd put shoes on and walk away because you just couldn't monitor them. Like stealing from a church. Nice. That's classy right there.
Yeah.
And so
I don't feel bad because the church gets my 10% of whatever it is that I sell anyways. So it's no big deal.
Yeah.
So they're actually getting double my profit. They're getting whatever they wanted to sell, and then they're getting my 10% on top of that.
Right. I've done it, so I'm not judging by any stretch. It makes me feel a little weird. So I've actually stopped going to church sales, and yeah, I don't know. Nope. I'm probably overthinking it, to be honest, but yeah, I've just kind of stayed away.
I'm not only guilty for it. No.
Okay.
That does beg a good point. Maybe I should have. Maybe I knew that there was a profitable item, so maybe I should have told them, hey, you've got this price really low. But I bet you they would have said, oh, we didn't even, we were just going to throw that away or something. So I'm glad I got $2 for it. So.
I think, yeah, if you like, you're like, oh, I'm going to make a boatload on this, you could definitely pay a little more because you're still going through the trouble of, you have your knowledge, you have the listing, you have the time spent packaging and all that stuff. And then you're taking the risk. Maybe something doesn't work. If it's like electronic based, maybe something's like got some hidden issues, whatever. So I don't know. I'm overthinking it. I don't want to like be firm on my stance on that. I'm just telling you where I'm at right now. So
I've had this exciting story to tell you for 2 weeks. Haven't texted you about it. Now you just made me feel like crap.
Yeah, that's how I roll. I mean, I try to make people feel bad about their successes, right? Isn't that what you want?
Moving on. What's the next one? What's your update?
Isn't that what friends do?
It is. You definitely keep me in check. So
I apologize. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I'm glad you sold it, and I'm glad you made a profit. And
I still don't
in my early days, I did the same thing. So,
and I'm still going to go to church yard sales. A yard sale's a yard sale. I don't know what to say.
Fair enough. All right. So, let's get to it. 10 lucrative items you might be passing over. Yes. So what's number 10? What you got?
So some of mine are going to probably be no brainers, but I still like to pick them because I still at least look at them because it's super lucrative. And most of mine are vintage stuff. So it's just what I happen to be into right now, what I'm picking up, what I'm looking for. So my number 5 would it be number 10? My number 10, our number 10 would be board games. So board games and wrappers is typically what I'm looking for right off the bat. Because
wait a second, how often do you find board games with the wrappers?
All the stinking time.
Really?
All the time.
Okay, I agree on that one because I think I've only found one. I shouldn't say ever, but it's very rare that I find them with the wrappers on. I have made money on them, but I don't see them that often. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you guys recall, or if our audience recalls, the Othello board game that I had found 2 of them with the wrapper on them. That's the one that I mixed up the labels and sent it off to the wrong person. I'd lost a ton of money on it. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but yes,
that was user error. Like that's not an issue with the item itself. So So I mean, board games are all over the place. There's like designer board games that are like these kind of European style games, which can go for upwards of $100. Then you have like, the classics, like you're saying, like Othello, Monopoly, all that stuff. So let's go with the classics. I don't know if you're like a board game nerd like I am, but let's say like classic games, you find it wrapped up. How much profit are you looking at making?
An easy $10 to $15.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Is that booable, folks?
No.
10 to $15.
$10 to $15. If you get 10 of those sales, you've got $100. Come on, that's a
Yeah, and I'm
bill.
saying I don't have 10 of those sales because that doesn't happen. And they're also sometimes they're kind of awkward to
Jeez.
package and find
They
boxes
are
for,
really,
especially
they
in
are very
Monopoly.
odd sized.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm gonna give you like a mediocre rating on that one because I think it's lucrative if you can find one of those designer games. So I'm gonna piggyback on Mike's tip here and I'm say if you see a board game that you haven't seen before, it's got like it looks like really cool art on it. And typically, like a lot of them are based on like medieval stuff or fantasy, knights in shining armor, that kind of stuff. Especially if it's wrapped up, like you can definitely make, you can make 50, $70 on that.
Right. Exactly.
So,
I do have one listed that's an used, unwrapped, obviously, and it's a vintage 1983 board game, and I have it listed for about 40 or $50. And
what game
get
is
a
it?
couple bucks for it. I knew you were going to ask me this. I wish I would have had it ready.
That's
no,
okay.
it's
we'll circle back.
Know.
We don't want to watch you struggle through this, so we'll circle back.
It's painful. It's painful just struggling with it right now.
Okay, so here's mine. I'm going to start with like my least lucrative item and then kind of move forward. Okay. So mine is Camelback backpacks. Camelback. I know. This one's surprising. I'm not talking about the ones that are like super faded. They've been used for 10 years. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like they're still in decent shape. Sometimes you can find them like, they've been used once or twice and the person decided they're not going to get into hiking or whatever. They don't like it. It doesn't even matter if it has the water reservoir, sometimes called the water bladder, inside the pack. Sometimes the pack itself can be lucrative. And so typically you can pick these up at garage sales for $5 or less, sometimes as low as like $1. And on the low end, I'll sell them for $20. On the high end, they can go for as much as $40 or $50. And they have these new running packs out now made by Nathan, Ultimate Direction, which are like running vests. And if those are in good shape, you can get like maybe even a little bit more depending upon how new they are. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What am I looking for in a pile of bags? What's standing out for a Nathan running vest? What are you looking for?
Just if it looks like it's in good shape still. If it
I mean, are you looking for a mesh pocket? What's standing out to catch your eye?
Like if it says Nathan on it, like that's it.
What about to know it's a running vest?
Are are you asking like what's the difference of the running vest versus like a camel backpack?
Yeah, I know what the difference camel backpack is, but if I'm picking through a bunch of stuff and I see a vest, I don't necessarily think I'm gonna know it's a running vest.
Yeah, it'd probably be with like the backpack kind of stuff or like the outdoor gear. A lot of times they're categorized, so it would just be like a little like a camelback, but it just has a lot of pockets on the front and the front straps. So, and honestly, the Nathan brand specifically usually says Nathan in very large size font going up the back of the pack itself. So it's not something you got to like dig around for the tag on. So
that's good to know because I'm in a huge outdoor community up here or at home. So I'll be looking out for those.
Look it up though. Don't take my word for it because if it's in good shape, but it's like 20 years old, then that's not going to do you any good. But yeah, look it up.
That is a good number 9.
Thank you. Number 8.
Number 8, vintage textiles. Do you know what textiles are?
Yes, but remind us all.
Vintage textiles are things like quilts or rugs or blankets, and you can generally find them. The best place to find the vintage stuff is at estate sales, right? So unfortunately, the circle of life, people pass away, and it's usually older people, grandmas, grandpas. So they have somebody come in and put on these estate sales, and so grandma and grandpa stuff is being sold by these people. And a lot of the times, grandma's had a rug or a blanket or anything like that for generations, maybe, or at least one generation, right? And these things sometimes can go for very, very large money.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'd recognize them. Like, are you looking for labels and tags to kind of determine the price on it?
What's catching my eye is just something that I haven't seen, in 20 years. That is kind of something, or just something that looks vintagey, antique. And then
how do you know if it's not labeled? Like, how would you know how to price it or where your market is?
Or finding what it costs, right? If it's not on eBay or Google. Luckily, eBay and Google are so vast that you're going to find something that's in the same era or same kind of time period.
Okay.
So If you don't find it, find comparables. So do key search words, blanket, vintage blanket. If you know the fabric type or something like that, put that in their search term and then see what kind of comparables you have.
Okay.
And then remember, this is your stuff. You get to price it for what you want to sell it at. So
Right.
it all depends on if that right buyer wants to buy it and pay $250, $300 for this vintage blanket.
Wait, that's a
Even
lot of
though,
money. This is your number 8. It's a lot of money you're throwing around here. $250, $300
well,
here.
I only go for the big stuff. I either go
Okay.
board games or $200 items. That's it.
You could make like $5 in a board game or $300 on a vintage quilt. That's a
The
pretty
board
big.
games are easy though. They're
So your
wrapped in cellophane. Buy them. That's
your
all you
number
got to
2 has got to
do.
be like tens of thousands of dollars if we're going by the same scale here.
That is on the high end of textiles. Trust
Okay.
me. And that's going to be for a follow up later on about this actual trip where we sourced something really, really cool. I'll share it with you next time.
Yeah, I want to hear about that if you end up selling it, because that's
I know exactly right.
That's the end of the story there. But all right, my number 7, I kind of have like my next 3 are like in the same range of pricing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the low, well, maybe not. I don't know. My low end one, I guess, would be, this is gonna be a weird one. Wheelchairs.
You know, you've told me about wheelchairs before. I forgot all about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wheelchairs, like I see them pretty frequently at garage sales, and they're not always a good deal. Like they're frequently not. Sometimes they're like, well, we bought this for $300 and we're selling it for $100. And I'm like, yeah, you're not selling it for $100. It's not, nobody's gonna buy that. So
wait, they bought it or their insurance bought it?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, it could be a mix of that. But if you can, like, I frequently can get them for $20 or less, sometimes $10 or less, sometimes $5. And I don't mark it up a ton because it's like a bulky item, even folded up. And I know that it's going to somebody who needs it and is trying to get a good deal on a wheelchair. So I'm not trying to like, sorry. I'm not trying to take advantage of people. Typically, when I sell it to somebody, they are actually really happy with the price. And so I'll usually go anywhere from $50 to $70. And again, most of the time I'm buying it for less than 20. Usually, I would say like on average around 10. So the markup's pretty significant. So I'm happy. I'm getting a good price, and I'm typically making the other person very happy as well.
Okay.
Just gotta watch the condition.
Does that make you feel bad? Does that make you feel guilty now that we're having like an existential healthcare cost crisis going on in our nation? And somebody actually paid $350 for that wheelchair. Now you're turning around and making a profit off of it.
Right.
So are you contributing to my insurance premiums rising?
I don't think so. I think that the person I'm typically buying from is usually well off enough where they're just like, it's like, with the garage sale thing, just get this out of my garage. And so it's a bulky item. They don't want to list it anywhere else. And so I just take it out their hands.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. And I like that you're not marking them up a lot because you know that those people are in need.
All right.
Good.
All right.
So my
number
next
6.
3, number 6. So number 6 is something else that I've been looking for. And I really haven't found too many of them, but it's vintage eyewear. So it's sunglasses, it's prescription reading glasses. So the vintage frames. And it's really a niche though. You need to know what the vintage brands are, right? It's like
give us some examples. Do you have any off the top of your head?
No, just designer labels. So
Oakley.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. It doesn't have to be vintage, right? If you find Oakleys or Ray-Bans or something that's a good brand name quality or a good designer name, then pick them up or at least look at them, see if they're reasonably priced, if you can make a profit off of them. But the vintage stuff, especially because a lot of that retro stuff comes back. People want them. They can put their own lenses in them. The lenses are really easy to be made for whatever kind of eyeglass you have going on. So people are all over those things, and people just are going crazy for vintage stuff right now. It's wild.
Right. Okay. All right. Now, I don't know anything about the eyeglasses. I'd have to look them up.
Yeah.
If you can, I'm guessing if they're just like I don't know that I've seen a lot of eyeglasses, but if they're there, I'm guessing they're not going to cost that much. So if it looks old, just take a flyer on it.
Well, and it's one of those things, if you think about it, you're going through grandma and grandpa's old stuff and you just come across a box of old frames, right?
Right.
And the person doing the estate sale is probably just going to clump them all together and be like 25 cents, $1,
right?
$5 a lot, whatever it is.
If it's $1, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll just buy it and then, recycle it or donate it if it's not anything. I don't mind spending $1
I'm
here and there.
learning with you. The more that we're becoming friends and the more that we're working together, you don't like a $2.50 profit, but you'll buy a $1 item that's just going to get thrown away. Or if it doesn't sell for 2 weeks, you'll go ahead and put it in your donate
It's the same
pile.
thought. I don't want, like, I'm looking for bigger profit. And so I'm not going to waste my time. So $1 here, $1 there is not going to bother me. Right. It's not what I'm after.
Doesn't a dollar here, dollar there add up after a while though?
It does. And so I try to make it up in the negotiating phase of things. But I'm not, when I say like, oh, just buy it, like I'm not, like that doesn't happen at every sale. I'm not just buying like this and then just buying that. Like it's usually like once a day, I'm just kind of piling everything together. But
I gotcha. I've been making kind of the same things. And especially learning. I've spent a lot of money trying to learn this stuff, buying something that just
well, and that happens too. So
it definitely does.
All right. My number 5, this, I don't know if this is specific to Colorado. I don't think it is. Bike racks. Racks. And what I'm talking about, there's a lot of different kinds of bike racks. Hitch mounted bike racks. Hitch, not the ones that you're throwing the 25 straps on the back of the trunk of the hatchback, not the roof racks. Like you can still make money on the roof racks, but there are so many parts and pieces. You got to make sure you have everything.
Yeah.
I don't like, I've tried playing around with that stuff and I've just frustrated myself, but the hitch mounted racks, even if it's missing the bolts or if it, missing a key, whatever, like if you can get them for under $20, then you're going to make a profit. At least in my area. I assume there's a lot of bikers across the nation. Yeah. And so the brands you're looking for, the top 2 that I see the most are Thule and Yakima. And sometimes I'll find them for $5, sometimes I'll find them for $10. And I'm usually selling them anywhere from $60 to $80.
Nice.
So, and I'll usually find about, I don't know, 4 or 5 a season. So those have been pretty good for me. Every once in a while I'll buy like an off-brand one and try to, I won't make as much on it, but if it's in good condition, I'll buy it. I did take a flyer on like a kind of a cruddy looking one that like just, it looked like it would hold the bikes okay. It just looked a little bit weathered. And I think I still made like a minor profit. I think I bought it for 10 and sold it for 20. But it was kind of bulky, and I don't like storing things that are bulky. But I'm not gonna make a big profit. But hitch mounted bike racks.
Nice. And is that pretty much on Marketplace and Craigslist? Is that where you're selling those?
Yeah, most of the things I have on the list today are the local pickups. So yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Those strangers coming to your house. It's always a good idea.
You can always meet somebody somewhere.
Starbucks.
That's right.
All right, that's cool. I like that idea, especially like I said, being in an outdoor community like I live in too.
Right.
I didn't even think about that. I haven't even been looking for them. Typically, I think that those things I see them too high priced.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can definitely run into high prices. And if they're trying to sell them for like $60, $80, I don't even try to negotiate with them. But unless it's like at the end of the day and they still have it, and you're like, I'll give you 20 for it. They might take it. But yeah.
Exactly. That's a good idea because a lot of people might get into it for one season and be like, oh, I'm already out of bike season, or I'm out of bike. I've already gone past that one.
Right.
Okay, cool. And we are on, what are we on? Number 6?
You're on number 4.
4. That's what I meant. Number 4 is vintage cameras. And I'm getting more and more excited about this one because I see a ton of people online flipping these vintage cameras that old Polaroids. They're flipping old Polaroids.
I see those all the time.
They're flipping the Olympus camera. Even the Nikons, the Leicas are really popular.
Yeah.
Canons, all those ones, man. And they're super valuable. I mean, photographers, I know quite a few of them, and they love to hold on to their cameras and different type of cameras. So I know that they're collectors. So if you see some cameras, make sure the battery compartment's not all corroded. Make sure it doesn't have like any jacked up pieces to it. But another tip with this, if you find a camera with a lens, you can break those 2 apart and sell them separately and possibly get even more money. So you can buy them as a deal, negotiate them down, and then tear it apart and sell the lens separate from the body of the camera. And a lot of those bodies, the body of the camera, go for quite a bit of money.
They do. And warning on this one is that you need to look them up. because some of them are valuable. Some of them, even name brand ones, are not.
Yeah, the models, right?
Yeah, and if you're looking up even more like 10, 20 year ago cameras that have like the special battery chargers, and then you don't have the charger now, you're like not sure if it works or not, and you're talking about making like a $20 profit on it, but you got to buy the battery charger, it may not be worth your time. So just be aware of the batteries on that. I'll tell you a mistake I made this past year.
What'd you do?
So I was like early 2000s, late 90s, like a Canon. Is it the Rebel? Who makes the Rebel?
Yeah.
Canon?
Yeah.
Okay. In the box. In the box. And so I was like,
cheapest camera ever made, but go ahead.
Is it? Okay. Well, I looked it up. I mean, it's like right in the box. I can like look at the model number. I looked it up and I'm like, ooh, this is a good find. And then I'm buying a lot of stuff. And so I didn't look too closely at it, but they had put a different camera inside the box.
Oh no.
It was still a Canon and it still sold, but like for a fraction of what I was hoping for. It was mismatched. So just be aware.
Really? The Rebels were going for a lot. That's like entry level cameras. I believe.
It was like an older one. I don't know. I mean, with the box, I looked it up, as if it had the box. The box is valuable. I don't know. That's my experience. But the cameras, you can't make a lot of money on. Don't get me wrong. I've made money on cameras. Just gotta be aware.
No, those are good points. Thanks for throwing those caveats in there, because I mean, even though I'm feeling confident about some of this stuff because I've really gotten into vintage stuff, I don't know everything. So if there's tips and tricks that you guys know that our listeners know, why don't you throw them down in the comments down below.
Right. You said something that actually changed my next answer.
Really?
Yeah. So you said
I seem to do that at least once an episode. That's pretty cool.
Okay, well, you said like with the bike racks, people just like want to do it for a season and then they're done. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to share as my number 3 what item I used to make a ton of money on when I was willing to put up with this. But this is exactly what you just said. Somebody uses it not even for a season, but it's like sits around, it's valuable, then they're just trying to get rid of it. And this has to be true across the nation. What do you say?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Treadmills.
The treadmill. Yes, that's correct.
I got it right. I knew it. I saw one sitting on the side of the road the other day, and I was thinking about, do I want to deal with it? No, I don't want to deal with it.
So I have a couple of tips around treadmills. First of all, they sell really fast, especially if you're in an area that's relatively active. Like they will sell fast. Like I typically would sell them within 24 hours. So once I listed them, obviously moving them's a hassle. The ones that fold up, if you have some sort of vehicle, you can kind of just slide it in there. I could do it by myself. And I'm just wedging things in. It's not that I'm super strong or anything, but what I would do, so that my tips are, I would test it out on site. So I even started bringing my own extension cord to make sure like I could plug it into an outside outlet, and I would test it out, make sure it's running. If it's running, you're good. If there's other issues with it, like the belt is rubbing against the right or the left side, that is an easy fix, fix. And sometimes people just give up on that, but there's like a spot right where the belt kind of curls around, when it goes, it's basically the back end of the treadmill. There's 2 Allen wrench housing areas where you just kind of adjust the belt, and it kind of like moves it to the left, moves to the right. You just get to adjust right. It takes a couple minutes, problem solved. If they say it's broken, not running, do not try to fix it. That's a nightmare. It's not worth it. So sometimes you can get working treadmills for free, like frequently. Sometimes you can get them that might have the rubbing stuff. You can get them like for $20, and you can sell them. Depends on how good a quality it is, but $80, upwards of like hundreds of dollars, depending upon how much effort you're willing to put into them. Because some of those like commercial grade ones, like you need multiple people lifting them. If you have a truck, maybe it's worth your time. You got some ramps, I don't know. But if you just kind of buy like the easy to move ones, that like you're looking around like $60 to $100.
No, that's good. You've told me about that before, and those things can get heavy, man. Those things can get heavy. I
think the stair steppers are worse because they're really awkward. So I've moved some of those too.
Yeah, nothing to grab onto. That's a fascinating idea, though. I love to fix things, so I wonder if I would try to fix. Like, are treadmills hard? If like, do they have specialized parts that go out? Like, is not an average person could fix it?
So it could be like it needs a new belt. It could be an electronic issue with like where you turn the on button. Yeah, you're getting into a mess there. So it's usually one of the two, or the motor's dead. Like, replace a motor. That's like the cost of the treadmill.
Yeah.
So
true. Good.
All right,
Nice.
number
Well
2.
played.
This is your best answer right now.
Right. This one is something that Jennifer and I both love to look for, and it's vintage Tupperware or vintage vintage kitchenware, anything like that. I love looking for vintage Tupperware. It's my favorite thing to look for when I walk into an estate sale. But I've been had a friend that's been telling me about silverware recently, like which ones to look out for silverware. I still haven't gotten into the plates. We've talked about plates and bowls and things like that quite a bit.
Stay away, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you want that to be your specialty, then I think you can do really well in it because I see it all over the place, but it's just not something I'm willing to invest the time in right now. But Tupperware, I'm all over Tupperware. You can pick them up for 25 cents at places.
All right.
And sell them for $10, $15. I think we sold one for 15. We sold a couple bowls the other day. I think they went for 25 each. Not exactly sure.
So just to clarify, your best item, the one at the top of your list, is literally Tupperware that you can sell for $10 to $25.
Yes, it is, because I don't mind selling things. It's not, I'm a reseller. I'm not a high value reseller. I'm just a reseller.
Okay.
Yes, right now,
even if what you're saying is true, and I would be willing to make that kind of a profit, like I'm with you on that. But as your best item, like you already had the vintage quilts and the vintage rugs for hundreds of dollars with high potential profit, and you're ending with Tupperware.
Because it's the simplest thing to learn. It's the simplest thing to find. It's the simplest thing to list, pack, ship, get rid of. Everything about it is easy. And it's everywhere. It is literally everywhere. You just got to find the good stuff. So yeah,
I already weighed in with my opinion on that.
I'd put that as number 1 all day long. No, cameras might be right up there with vintage, with Tupperware.
They are. Trust me.
Yeah, it was close.
All right, my number.
So if you do the statistics of how often you're going to find a camera compared to how often you're going to find Tupperware, I think Tupperware is going to win out every single time.
I haven't paid attention to Tupperware, but now I will, and we'll circle back and see if that's true, at least in my area.
Yep.
Okay, so one thing that my number 1 answer is, of course, the lemonade stand. They're everywhere. Wait, no, sorry, that's not good.
What are you talking about?
When you go out on the garage sale circuit, don't you have like little kids trying to sell you lemonade nonstop?
Never.
What are you talking about? Community sales, they're all over the place. Hi, I'm cute. Buy some of my lemonade for $25.
I think the first time that I experienced that was out there with you when I went with you yard selling.
Oh my gosh. If I bought all the lemonade from all the kids, like I have to go pee, I'd have to like leave the garage sailing, and that's just not good. Yeah. So I try to be so encouraging and so friendly to the kids, but I still say no every time. Unless my own kids are with me, then I'm like, we buy from one kid. And that's it. So
just one kid.
Yeah. Sometimes if parents are doing it, they're selling donuts and Cokes and whatever. But all right, my real number 1 answer is, and this actually came up on a previous episode, I think the one that we had Will on. Okay. The one that he mentioned somebody else was looking for, and that is weights.
Yeah.
All right. And so it's not just any weights. I'm talking like the weight plates you'd find at the gym are the best ones, like the 2-inch holes. Those are the best ones. You get like the workout bars you'd find at the gym. Those are good. If you're going to get like this rickety old bench, if they're throwing it in, just take it. Maybe you'll sell it, but that's not what you're after. You're looking for kind of the higher quality stuff. Yeah. The 1-inch hole ones, you can still sell those. But if you're talking about like the plastic coated weights or those like dumbbells that are like colored, like the kind of,
they're filled with sand.
Yeah, those ones, stay away from those ones. But if you have like metal dumbbells, those are good. Even better if you can find them with like a rack that comes with it. Sometimes people just are like, they just want to get rid of them. You can find them for free. I found a bunch for free last year. It's kind of hit or miss. Some years I buy a bunch of weights, some years I don't buy any. And so, but when I find them, I'm super excited about them. And early on, like back when I was at your level, I remember there was this family that had like the really good stuff. I was with my family, so I didn't have anywhere to put it. And I should have just bought it and then come back for it. And they were just like, we'll just give it to you for like whatever you want. Just take this stuff off our hands. Whoa. And it was literally like hundreds of dollars of resale profit. So so these are, depending upon how much you're getting, I would say if you get a decent amount, you're talking minimum $100. but if you get a lot, likely hundreds of dollars of profit. And I'm not talking about like the, whatever you call it, the machines or anything like that. I'm talking about just weights, like weight plates, dumbbells.
Plates.
Bars too, yeah.
Yep. And they are the simplest thing to ship too. They weigh nothing at all. I mean, just
local
they fit in a priority
pickup.
box. They fit in a priority box. That. Just great.
Local pickup.
That's good. No, I look for that. I think I even turned you on to one while we're out yard selling. It was those sandbag CrossFit weights. Did you ever get rid of those? I think you already told me.
Oh yeah, that took forever. I think I made my money back on that one, so that didn't work. But that was like a low risk item. Didn't cost that much, so I was willing to try that one.
Yeah, they were in really good shape too.
Yeah,
so
I did take flyers on weight vests, and those went super fast. I didn't make a ton of money on them because I think I bought them for I think $20 for two. Like the people, how people wear weighted vests, and that was good. Hey, we're giving bonus ones now. We gave 10. We'll come back another episode if they want bonus ones. We'll see how people respond to this one.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, my friend. So anything else?
Good. I got a couple follow-ups. You up for some follow-ups?
Sure. What you got?
So did you know that we have listeners in the USA, right? We've got coast to coast. We're actually coast to coast now. But we actually have listeners in the UK. We have listeners all the way in Singapore, listeners in Canada, and we have some Aussie listeners also.
Yeah. So if you're really from those areas, like welcome and thanks for listening to our show. I always suspect it's people that are just like traveling, and that's when they're downloading it.
Oh, really? That they're in the airport?
Trip. Yeah.
No, come on. No, well, actually, the Singapore ones, the two in Singapore, they've actually downloaded.
There's two. That's funny. Okay, sorry, go ahead. They've downloaded what we're gonna say. They've
downloaded our last 3 episodes.
Oh, okay, so they're there for an extended stay, maybe.
Exactly.
Either way, we'll take anything, man. You're on the moon downloading our stuff. Like we'll take it because
that's crazy.
We like to build a community here, and to be honest, we haven't heard a lot from we've heard a little bit. We've gotten some responses here and there, but if you've been listening to our show, we could. I'm a little embarrassed by the fact we only have 10 Apple reviews. So if you use the Apple Podcast app,
right,
you don't even have to review us. You could just like tap the stars. Yeah, it'd be amazing if you tap the 5 stars. But like we only have 10 on there. We've been doing this for a while. Like I said, I'm a little embarrassed. If you don't mind, like that'll make us feel good, and maybe it'll keep Mike going. Who knows?
Keeps my spirits up when I see those reviews.
That's right.
No, those are great. And as soon as they start rolling in, we'll start. Maybe we can start reading some of them on the show.
Yeah. The more creative, the better. And we'll read them off. We'll send you some Frosted Snowman gear if you review our stuff as we find it.
You know what they're probably thinking right now? What are these 10 reviews? Why haven't you read them off already? So,
I think they're all from like your family or something. Like they're not even real reviews.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. No, they are real reviews.
Okay. All right.
We do have one. Caleb, he's a listener and he wrote a review. So we'll read that one Caleb. Next week. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening, buddy.
All right. So I've got vintage trivia where you got to guess which item would resell for more and which would resell for less. And I'm going to pick items from my list.
Oh.
All right. So I'm going to get very specific, basically, is what I'm getting.
So I should have been paying attention to your list then.
Right. I gave some clues. I gave some, some little breadcrumbs there. So, all right. Number one, so you got 3 questions. Number one, which one is more valuable? More valuable. Okay. Would it be a Thule bike rack, hitch mounted, that can hold 4 bikes? All the straps are in good shape. There might be some paint shipping, maybe not. Would it be the Thule bike rack that you bought for $10? Or would it be a Camelback backpack that's about 5 years old, that's still in decent shape, no water reservoir, that is just kind of like a middle level one that you bought for $5? What are you to make the most profit on?
That's good. I seem to remember that both of those were kind of around the same profit margin, but I'm going to go with the Thule bike rack.
The bike rack is correct. There you go. Ding, ding, ding. Number one.
Just barely more profit, isn't it?
No, it's a lot more profit. So if you're talking about $10 to, 60 to 80, you're going to be making $50 to $70 profit versus like a 30 to 40 item on the high end. You're making $25 to, $30. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Okay, number 2, we've got let's go with 80 pounds in weight plates, mixed plates. 80 pounds.
Okay.
So you got 2 10s, 2 25s, 2.5s, 2.5. I don't know. 80 pounds in weight plates there.
Gotcha.
Okay. Or you can resell. I'm going to go with something that was on my list that I didn't actually talk about. So you have to figure this one out.
Ooh.
One of those like square iPod shuffles. Like they're just square shaped, not the rectangular shaped ones, the square shaped. It works. And you bought the weight plates for $10. You bought the iPod shuffle for $5. Most profit.
Yeah. It's going to be the iPod shuffle because you told me about this little trick where they've actually had a recall on those. And you can send them back to Apple, and Apple will send you a brand new shuffle, which you can sell for brand new.
All right. This is where your age is playing a role here because that's incorrect, my friend. I was talking about the iPod Nano, and that deal they have hasn't been going for years. I said that used to be a deal they had. So incorrect. Incorrect. The iPod shuffles you price up for about $30-$35.
Yeah.
Use, assuming you have like the charge cord for it, and the weight plates you're going to sell for anywhere from 80 or more dollars, $1 a pound. Maybe if you're trying to get rid of it fast, like $50 to $70. I don't know. Either way, It's more with the weights.
So I'm glad we did this trivia because I would have been looking for those iPad shuffles or nanos still.
Okay. Last one.
Bring it.
You have a wheelchair with a little bit of a wonky wheel. Everything else is in good shape, still folds up, but the wheel's a little angled differently. It's going to take a little bit to fix. So you got to factor in your time there. All right. Okay. Then you've got a red Solo cup filled with ice cold lemonade. Ice cold, perfect balance of lemon, water, and sugar.
Yeah. Okay.
Which one's better? Better for resale.
Lemonade by far.
What?
Especially with the couple little cute little kids selling lemonade.
Yeah, you're reselling. You're not the cute kid, man. You're like an old crusty guy trying to resell lemonade. That's not gonna work.
That's great. That's true. I wouldn't buy lemonade from me either if I had a stand.
Right. This is your first trivia fail, and I'm embarrassed for you that chose the lemonade. So incorrect.
Lemonade would make a ton of money. Those little kids, man, they must be raking a fortune.
They do. My daughter's been one of those kids before. And typically what happens is they make a lot of money, but they also attract more kids who want to like help. So they have to like divide the money up. So in the end, it doesn't make as much.
But, gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. That's all I got for me. Right. Fellow pickers, go find your own stories, one treasure at a time.
And remember, it's not reselling if you're not selling lemonade.